Well, our top story today from the gatewaypundit.com, a former Biden stenographer claims that Biden blackmailed Obama with threats of exposing former president's alleged homosexual behavior. But do these reports hold true? We have this and so much more coming up on the Gateway Pundit's Week in Review. My name is Elijah Schaffer, and this is the Week in Review, where we cover the top 5 stories of the last 24 hours in around 10 minutes. Our top story today from the gatewaypundit.com, Jim Hoff releases a shocking report. We're going to get into it. Mike McCormick, a former White House stenographer who worked with Joe Biden, claimed during an interview with Alex Jones that Biden used potential damaging information to manipulate Barack Obama. McCormick alleges that Biden threatened to expose Obama's supposed homosexual affairs unless certain conditions were met, wielding this information as a tool for political leverage. Mike McCormick is a former White House stenographer who worked closely with Joe Biden during his tenure as vice president. In this role, McCormick was responsible for accurately transcribing speeches, meetings, and other communications involving Biden and other government officials. His firsthand experience provided him with an intimate perspective on the operations and inner workings of the Obama regime. He wrote a book titled The Case to Impeach and Imprison Joe Biden, an eyewitness account of 6 years as Joe Biden's White House stenographer. Now, according to his book, McCormick made national news in April by revealing he submitted evidence to the FBI that would impeach Joe Biden, confirms that he was interviewed extensively about his knowledge of Biden's corruption and evil by investigators from the House Oversight Committee. McCormick courageously identified U.S. government officials who assisted Joe Biden in his evil schemes. During the interview with Alex Jones, McCormick claimed Biden discovered potentially scandalous information about Obama's private life early in their partnership and used it to ensure his place as a close, indispensable advisor. Now, while I don't like to go with tabloid headlines, it is interesting, though, that Obama has been accused of being married to a transsexual, Michael or Michelle Obama. And obviously, everyone's gay today, so maybe Obama did have homosexual affairs. That seems to be the norm in Hollywood as people blackmail each other, so perhaps it's the same in politics. I remember Bill Clinton saw the House of Cards, the Netflix adaptation of what goes on in politics in DC, which involves homosexual blackmail. And he said it was pretty close to accurate to what really goes on. And he's no stranger to sexual proclivities himself. I'd love to know your thoughts on what you think is going on there. Our next story, Chuck Schumer announces a scheme to strip President Trump of court-granted immunity and send him to jail. You can watch the full video at thegatewaypundit.com, but Colin Linebarger reports. A historic Supreme Court ruling is not stopping Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer from trying to imprison President Trump. As the Gateway Pundit reported, the Supreme Court's ruling last week, 6-3, on ideological lines in favor of Trump, asserting that presidents are immune from criminal liability involving official acts during their tenure. The case, Trump versus United States, arose from narcissistic special counsel Jack Smith's corrupt indictment against Trump, who is falsely accusing the 45th president of conspiring to throw out the 2020 presidential election results. The garbage charges Smith has levied include spreading claims of election fraud and attempting to obstruct the certification of the election results. Schumer took to the Senate floor Monday to whine about the ruling, and according to The Hill, he declared the court was wrong to grant Trump a breathtaking level of immunity. They incorrectly declared that former President Trump enjoys broad immunity from criminal prosecution for actions he took while in office. Schumer went on to say the court majority had effectively placed a crown on Donald Trump's head, putting him above the law and making him in many ways untouchable. Schumer then announced he had something to ensure that Trump could still be prosecuted effectively despite the court's ruling. He said that he would be working with his fellow Democrats to classify Trump's acts after the 2020 election as unofficial ones, not subject to immunity, thereby removing court-granted immunity. If implemented into law, this would be a huge lifeline for the Biden regime as it tries to remove the presidential frontrunner from the field. You can find more of that story there on our website. Speaking of Joe Biden, let's check in on him. He recently spoke in front of NATO and said 5 heritaging systems. Joe Biden, an incoherent, rambling mess at the NATO summit. Christina Lilo reports. Joe Biden on Tuesday evening almost stayed up past his bedtime to deliver remarks on the 75th anniversary of NATO. Good job, Joe. I'm so glad you're able to get past your nighty-night and get your pee-pee in and get your little warm milk and continue on with the rest of us. Now, Biden opened the NATO summit by announcing new air defense systems in Ukraine. Ukraine is not a member of NATO, so this is dangerous. The United States will make sure that when we export critical air defense interceptors, Ukraine goes to the front of the line, Biden said. They will get this assistance before anyone else gets it. Why do we even have NATO and membership if Ukraine gets NATO treatment when they're not even NATO? The US, Germany, and Romania will each provide a Patriot battery of their own, while the Netherlands will work with other countries to enable an additional Patriot battery. Each country announced in a joint statement. Meanwhile, Italy would also provide a SAMP T long-range air defense system. The statement said the air defense systems will help protect Ukrainian cities, civilians, and soldiers, and we are coordinating with the Ukrainian government so that these systems can be utilized rapidly. Nurse Jill sat in the front row. We have an example of him legitimately saying the weirdest part out loud. Here's Joe Biden talking. It's a rather quick clip, but listen.
For 5 additional strategic air defense systems.
Very nice, Joe. I'm glad that you could almost speak English. And here's where he even forgot how to say the name of Ukraine. Listen.
Destroy Ukraine's culture.
Ukraine's culture. What, the culture of state-enforced homosexuality, selling out their nation to corruption, the idea of laundering American money? I don't think there's much difference between Ukraine and Russia in terms of their people, especially Eastern Ukraine. But Western Ukraine wants to be hedonistic, and that's up to them. I'd love to know your thoughts below. Our next story from thegatewaypundit.com, unearthed emails show Letitia James' office corresponding with Biden DOJ, hatchet man Matthew Colangelo about plan to get Trump, or Colangelo. It's always hard for me to pronounce these names. Also, just because there's so many of them that you go through in the news. The House Judiciary Committee, led by Chairman Jim Jordan, unveiled a report on Tuesday titled Lawfare: How the Manhattan District Attorney's Office and New York State judge violated the constitutional and legal rights of President Donald Trump. The report scrutinizes DA Alvin Bragg's 34-count criminal indictment against Trump, which was announced on April of 2023. The House Judiciary Committee also obtained on December 22 email conversation between Biden and Hatchet Man. Matthew, glad to see you are back in New York City. Sounds like you and Mr. Trump past will continue to intersect, James Sheehan wrote to Matthew Colangelo on December 7th. New document obtained at Judiciary GOP. Bragg's top prosecutor, Matthew, previously worked in the Justice Department and is a lifelong left-wing activist. Biden sent Matthew to New York to convict his main political opponent on non-crimes. Why would he go from a senior position at the Justice Department to working for the Manhattan DA's office? Good question. It was obviously a political move to take out Biden's main political rival, Donald Trump. In May, a jury found Trump guilty on 34 felony counts after crooked judge Juan Merchan rigged the Stormy Daniels hush money trial and allowed jurors to choose among 3 predicate crimes Trump committed. We still don't know what crimes he committed. Chairman Jordan recently launched an investigation into Matthew. Jordan specifically called on him in his letter to U.S. Attorney General Merrick Garland. The Committee on the Judiciary is conducting an oversight of politically motivated prosecutions. And that's what we believe happened. They were politically motivated. Our last story is quite hilarious. Maxine Waters had a very interesting 26 seconds of pure comedy gold on CNN, where she actually ended up having to fix her wig. I don't know why we take these people seriously when they can't even get their hair done right, if you know what I'm saying. Here is the full clip posted by Dinesh D'Souza. Watch.
They've seen President Biden. They've lived through his presidency. They've also seen former President Trump. They've lived through his presidency. They've heard these arguments about democracy, about the fate of the election. And yet Trump is not only winning, but winning increasingly by a larger margin. So what is the plan among Democrats to change that trajectory? It sounds like you're talking about saying and doing all the same things, but do you believe that something needs to change?
I think we need to keep working.
Oh, it's always so much comedy. Let me know your thoughts and opinions below what you think about these stories. My name is Elijah Schaffer, and this is the Weekend Review for thegatewaypundit.com. Don't forget to subscribe directly on our website. Become a member today. You can go to our website and also follow us directly on Rumble and on X at The Gateway Pundit. Have a great rest of the week, as always, and may God bless the United States of America. I'm signing out.